This episode is brought to you by Parma Token, a Crypto.com tracked token. Parma gives you access to exclusive community experiments and no team or pre-sale tokens. Parma is a deflationary coin with over 50% of its tokens burned at the launch and 1% burned on each transactional event. Visit parmatoken.com for more details on acquiring this awesome token. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis, yeah.
Welcome to my two Satoshis with Default, coming to you once again with a market analysis video. Starting off where I last did a video, we were looking at the total 2, which is the altcoin market, and I was explaining how on a weekly time frame, we were potentially forming hidden bullish divergence on the MACD and on the RSI on that weekly time frame. And I was saying that, with this type of setup, I was expecting more positive price action, more so than negative. And, that was last week. We had a good week last week and the close. And then, this week we are still gaining more value within, the total market cap of alts. Scrolling into the daily time frame, we had this triangle forming. It's in a triangle. I was more anticipating that price would break out to the bullish side than bearish side because, with that weekly hidden bullish divergence, and also on the daily you had MACD bullish divergence, and you actually had RSI bullish divergence as well. So I was expecting the price to go to the upside more than the downside. And as you can see, we broke out of this triangle bullishly. But right now we're butting up against this trend line, this downsloping trend line, this downtrend that we've been in since November. And what needs to happen now is, of course, you have to break this trend line to the upside. And I think if we do break this trend line, we will see a large move to the upside, or a large impulse to the upside. Let's see if we were in any type of pattern. We're actually in a rising wedge right now on a 4-hour time frame, which is typically a bearish pattern. So we may pull back, come back down, test around 1.7 trillion and break to the upside and break this downtrend. Looking at your MACD, you did have bearish divergence, but it played out, and now we're just, still moving sideways on your RSI as well, consolidating. At this point, I'm still anticipating that we will see more upside, and so that we're breaking out of this pattern, and we just have to break this down, this downtrend. We can use a fib retracement tool, see potential targets. Typically, when you have a retracement, you typically look from anywhere from that 382 to the 618, between those fibs for potential target to, take profit. And usually, typically with cryptocurrency, I've noticed over time that the 618 is usually a fib that is hit, and then we have a reversal back to the downside. The 618 right now is sitting at 1.38 trillion, but we could see 1.18 trillion or 1.28 trillion and see some type of reversal. Right now, I just see that the momentum is shifting, and we are more likely to see more higher prices than lower prices, unless we do reject here hard. Right now, right at resistance, and we're just indecision so far. The day is early, but that's what I'm seeing right now with the total 2 market, and that is the total value of the altcoin market. One of the major alts is, of course, Ethereum. And I was just looking at this chart, and what I noticed is that I had this trend line here as we broke out. But actually, if you use this peak, you can see a more defined symmetric triangle after your downtrend, your impulse down. You just have this consolidation now. And if you actually look at it on a larger look at the weekly, we're kind of just in this wedge, just rising wedge. And just like with your total 2 market cap, you have on Ethereum, USD, you're forming hidden bullish divergence on a weekly as well. Again, this is why I'm more optimistic that we will see higher prices. And when you look at the daily, that consolidation. If we happen to break out of it, about a 58% to a 59% move to the upside, you could be seeing Ethereum back at around $4,900. And you could also, just as I used the fibs with your total 2 market cap, use fibs for Ethereum USD from top to the bottom. I mean, that would be 100% retracement. And typically when you start to test your all-time highs, you typically don't sell off. Typically test those all-time highs and maybe reject it a little bit, consolidate, and then, you know, break those all-time highs. We are in a rising wedge, which is, you know, traditionally a bearish pattern, but I'm gonna show you another chart at Ethereum, and I'm gonna show you what I'm seeing like longer term, just like more looking so that has more data than Coinbase. A breakout of this rising wedge to the upside, which I've seen numerous times in cryptocurrency. I mean, you could be getting a target around 13.8. I'm not saying that that's gonna happen. I'm just saying, you know, we do break out of the structure bullishly, and we test that all-time high, I will be looking for more continuation to the upside than, you know, we test this trend line and then a sell-off. I mean, we probably will test the trend line and sell off somewhat, but I would be expecting a breakout at that point. But I mean, first things first, you gotta break this trend line, you gotta break this consolidation bullishly. So I've been bullish on Ethereum since around like 200, like 250, around that range. And why I was really bullish on Ethereum is because, I mean, this chart honestly looks like BTC, you know, not so much as the price, just, you know, the structure. You know, this is the all-time high. This line represents the all-time high. We haven't gone back to test it, kind of like what Bitcoin does. Like every time you have breaking those all-time highs, you never have made, you know, we never came back and tested that or broke below those highs. So seeing that and seeing like I'm gonna bring up the BTC chart next, but, you know, looking at this chart, you could kind of argue more so on the weekly, it's kind of a wedge, just uses a straight line. I mean, it's kind of a centered triangle somewhat. So you get some type of accumulation, and then you have that weekly, you have that hidden bullish divergence that hasn't been confirmed yet. I mean, to confirm it, you have to start to get positive momentum on the MACD. I mean, Ethereum's not looking all that bad, honestly. Ethereum BTC pair was kind of, you know, telling people back before this breakout that we were having like a ascending triangle / inverse head and shoulders on Ethereum BTC. It was another reason why I was so bullish on it. We broke out of it back in April of 2021. You falsely broke out of it there and, you know, just made another higher low and then really broke out of it. I haven't looked at this chart in a minute. Measure move has not been hit yet. And then you had some consolidation at the time. I had this as a triangle. Falsely broke out. Adjust this now as, you know, just another bull flag. BTC pair performing well as well. I mean, this is actually making me more bullish on, you know, as long as we stay within this consolidation and finally break out at some point. You know, Ethereum looks way more set up to see higher prices than actually BTC right now. Looking at Bitcoin, I was more bullish on the alts because of that on the total 2 of that, you know, hidden bullish divergence in the weekly. You know, Bitcoin wasn't really showing me anything other than, you know, I was just using the RSI as a gauge to see if we were going to ever pump out of this consolidation. And right now we're testing the top of this trend line as consolidation on the RSI. And I have this now more as a bear flag, before as a symmetric triangle. And I'm using it more as a symmetric triangle just simply because it, you know, it broke out of the pattern, it's creating a new pattern. And if you ever break 44,000, around 44,500 now, or really still 44,600. Measure move of this symmetric triangle is around like 59,750. I'm gonna say easy, like let's round it up and say 60K. But Bitcoin is actually lagging the alts right now. So, you know, this is what I'm seeing right now with BTC. I was waiting for Bitcoin to break this trend line. We did break it to the upside. So, you know, Bitcoin really, what I'm looking for is it to test this, actually on a 4 hours, this 44,800 area And let's see if we can break it. And again, just like with the total 2 market cap, starting to see rise and wedge being formed in the 4 hour, which is again a bear structure and something you really don't want to, break down to the downside, because you could be testing this bottom trend line again. BTC, there's not much of an advantage. That has me more cautious. While Ethereum and the total altcoin market is looking set up for higher prices. BTC, only thing I see on the weekly right now, as far as like a technical advantage, which are indicators, is you don't have hidden bullish divergence with the MACD, but you do have it with your RSI on your weekly time frame. And last week we did, which is positive. We finally did break and close above 39,000, and we're getting another, positive week. Area I'm looking to close above, this week is 43,200. If you remember, when I first started doing, videos, we were just back in January, we kept rejecting that zone. So I'm looking for prices to close above it. I think we close above it, we will be, that will be breaking that. We won't be breaking 44.6, but it'd be another positive step to seeing higher prices and just, again, using your fibs from your high to low on BTC. Potential targets, if we do break to the upside, you could be seeing, 46,700, around like 51,000 or 55,000, around those areas, around those fibs. Like I said, typically in a cryptocurrency, you see the 618 before you see any type of rollover. I don't know why I'm more optimistic right now is looking at Ethereum and how the structure is setting up. You're still making higher lows on a weekly. Honestly, it looks, if we can ever break this consolidation bullishly, we're setting up for higher prices, but you have to break above 3,080. And right now we're rejecting that zone. And 2 other things I wanted to just note was that you did have this consolidation on Ethereum's RSI that you did bullishly break, and also on the 4 hour on Ethereum, which I do not like right now, is you have a rising wedge on the 4 hour on Ethereum. So we could be seeing a pullback before testing the zone again to break it. If we do break it to this rising wedge to the downside, it is about a 6% move to the downside. Just be cautious. If you're just trying to hop in right now, there's actually a bearish case short term, and we could be seeing lower prices before we have another impulse up and finally do break this symmetric triangle. I was stating last time that I had some projects coming out. It's looking like Friday. You will know some of those details, but that's what I'm seeing in the market right now. Hopefully, you're finding this information helpful. You're getting, some education out of this. You can put it in the comments. And, just giving another shout out to Crypto Blood that allowed me to do this type of content. And, just giving my perspective on the market. If you've been watching this content, you kind of see now that know what I'm talking about, and you can have a better understanding of what's going on with the market and not get wrapped in with the, the hype cycle of, this news comes out, so I'm going to buy, this asset. It's really just understanding and being disciplined, because you don't have to listen to me as far as like, looking for bullish divergence or anything. You don't even need indicators. It's just, if you know how to chart patterns, you could literally just be trading off of buying the bottom of these structures and selling the, near the tops or the tops of these structures. That's not, financial advice. I'm just saying that it gives you a better advantage over the moon boy or always bearish trader. But, this is what I look for the market structure, and this is what I look for as, an advantage in this market. Until next time, stay safe out there, and hopefully we do break these structures to the upside. Until next time, peace.